just another American who saw too many movies as a child. Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
All right, everybody, my name is Kevin.
And I'm John.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Julie.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. And it's December's, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. Real Christmas. During the Real Review all Christmas long, we take a look at all your favorite holiday movies. And today, ladies and gentlemen, Christmas Day, we're taking a look at one of the most legendary, is it Christmas, is it not Christmas movies, Die Hard. A New York City police officer tries to save his estranged wife and several others taken hostage by terrorists during a Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles. Guys, I love Die Hard. And not just as a Christmas movie, but as a movie in general. I think Die Hard is like the peak of 80s, like early 90s action movies. It has that the best kind of hero I love, the natural guy thrown into an insane situation. Bruce Willis is phenomenal. This kick-started Bruce Willis's action career because at the time he was pretty much just the lover guy, like on soap opera TV shows, the comedy guy, and then here he is, saving everybody from foreign invaders inside of Nakatomi Plaza. This movie's phenomenal. What hasn't been said about Die Hard, right? It's an action movie that's memorable. There's so many great set pieces, so many one-liners. But the biggest question I have, ladies and gentlemen, here, is it a Christmas movie? Because that seems to be always the contention with Die Hard. You ask one person to your right, they'll say it is. The person to your left say it isn't. It's one of the greatest questions, which I don't even know if we're going to be able to answer on this video. I think we're going to try for you guys. But before we dive too deep into that, Adam, talk to me about Die Hard. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you said it all. It's the quintessential movie if you're looking for a solid Christmas movie, a solid action film, and just a solid movie in general.
Right.
Because it's just very enjoyable to watch. And I don't remember. This is maybe my fifth time seeing this movie, I think.
Wow, I can't even tell you how many times mine is. At least the fact that you got a record going, though. Jeez.
Yeah, I think it's like my fourth or fifth, something like that. But it's still a great movie to watch. I should rewatch it more. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Willis's character, it's just fantastic. Like, he absolutely makes this movie, like, that much better.
I mean, John McClane's a legendary character. I mean, everyone kind of knows who that character is. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Everybody knows that. You know, it's just, it's crazy how iconic such a nobody kind of character really is. He's just the everyday action hero getting thrown in a crazy situation. And sure, it's cliche by today's standards, absolutely. But at the time when they were doing this kind of movie, it kind of revolutionized, the industry as far as action. And it still kind of carries on today. We still get similar movies like this today, kind of repeating that everyday hero kind of thing. Die Hard leaves an impression. As far as being a holiday movie, it also leaves an impression too, which we'll go into. John, talk to me about Die Hard. Hopefully you're excited about this one after our little stint with Love Actually there.
Geez, about time you started picking some good ones. This one's an ultimate Christmas classic. I love this movie. I love the action. I think it's also funny, though, how the movie almost begins with him being scared on a plane and then him becoming this badass at the end. Right. And also, the guy from Family Matters, the cop, the guy is hilarious, and he's always a cop in every show and movie. It's kind of funny because he never knows how to do his job right, but it's always a good character.
Yeah, Reginald Vell Johnson would make an appearance as the cop who shot a kid in this movie, and he's absolutely fantastic. I do love him. He has such a charming personality to him, and especially having him and Bruce Willis, who really they only talk to each other throughout the whole movie over their walkie-talkies, and then they meet at the end. When they like embrace at the end of the movie, I couldn't give two shits about Bruce Willis's wife in the movie. When John McClane's going, oh, his wife, he like goes right past her. He's going right up to Sergeant Powell there. He just gives him a big hug, like, haha, you motherfucker, I'm alive. We did it. Yeah, we did it together. That's rewarding, right there.
Big old man hug right
Big
there
old
at
man
the end.
hug.
You
That's
know
what we
how it
love.
ends.
That's what we love in our action movies, right there.
Come on.
I know it's
Blow
solid.
off the wife and go for the man hug.
If that's not Christmas, I don't know what is. Right there.
I was just gonna say that's the Christmas spirit
That's
right
it.
there.
That's it for sure. I don't know how you could deny that. It's impossible. Julie, how about you? Now, how many times have you seen Die Hard? Now, I don't think you saw it too many times, right? Because we watched it together for the first time, really together, wasn't it? Were we together?
I think I saw it before. I've watched this.
I know we've watched this before. Like, I'm not saying like recently. I mean like years ago. I know.
I mean, I've probably watched this like 10 times now, 10, 11 times
Right.
or more. What's not to love about this movie? I really do love this. And it's teen Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. But the action itself is great. I mean, yeah, could you throw this on in July? Sure.
Yeah.
But you have to
Christmas
watch
in
it.
July. I don't like how you pick July because we can have Christmas in July.
Could you watch this in April? Sure. But you got to watch it in December around Christmas time. We usually save it. Like Kevin and I were weird. We have like our favorites that we wait until like closer to Christmas. And Die Hard's pretty close. We watch that maybe like Christmas Eve, you know.
Right.
We just think it's that important to the holiday. I love John McClane. I love Hans Gruber. What a great villain.
Legendary.
One of his like theatrical debuts as well. I know he was mostly like a stage performer before this. And Alan Rickman, man, he always delivers. We just talked about him in Love Actually, but as the villain here, amazing. And there is like I know Adam chimed in about like the Christmas spirit, you know, the relationship between him and the cop on the walkie, and then even him reconciling with his wife. There's a lot of great, you know, messages in this story that I think ups the Christmas factor.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the great discussion here, and then we'll talk about the movie throughout too as we go. So, is it a Christmas movie? That is the question. When you look at this movie, you have to ask yourself, if you take Christmas out of it, does it affect the movie at all? Like, so if you remove the whole element, the whole theming of Christmas, is this movie affected? Adam, what do you think? If I took Christmas out of this, is this the same Die Hard?
It's so tough because, like, obviously there's a reason why everybody was called to this, you know, building is because of the Christmas party.
Right. So let's go even deeper than that. So what else about this movie says Christmas to you? The first thing I think about is the score in this movie. Now, the score is a traditional score throughout most of the movie. However, Christmas music is always intertwined into almost every single beat of every scene. There's always like a little like tinge of some other song kind of being tied in or reorchestrated. To me, it kind of just like embraces the Christmas spirit. I mean, sure, maybe it's not the spirit in the quintessential like happy holiday ho ho ho, but it feels like very Christmassy when you're watching these scenes, ironically, when he's fighting terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the music, I think it's unique enough to where it stands out and it makes it its own Christmas vibe, which I think this might end up going into a category all of its own at this point.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And then even like, I think a lot of the theming in this movie is very Christmas related about a man. Julie loves to do this where she explains the different themes of Die Hard. Why don't you take it, Julie? What's one of your favorite defenses for Die Hard as a Christmas movie?
Are you thinking about how I pitch movies to my mom? Is that how you're trying to say?
You always say you tried to pitch it recently to somebody as how it's a Christmas movie.
I did, yeah. And my school, we did like a trivia thing for like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I'm like, oh, of course it is. But the overwhelming consensus was no.
Which is
and like,
strange.
And someone was like, oh, you know, well, it's just so mean. There's nothing positive in it. I'm like, he gets back together with his wife. They're separated. There's some tension in there. And, you know, through him working through, you know, having to fight these terrorists, he kind of, you know, realizes the true meaning of his life, that he's meant to be with his wife and kids. After all of that suffering and heartache, he's meant to be there to protect them. It's just a great movie.
He gives her the gift of saving her life. What more could you want for Christmas, right?
Exactly.
And he saved his marriage on Christmas. John, how about you? What do you think of this? What are some of your defenses for it being a Christmas movie?
You mean other than the fact that all the songs are Christmas?
Yeah.
And that there's so much Christmas shit going on. Even when he goes to get his Twinkies or his ho-hos, even he comes out of the place and he's singing Christmas tunes.
Yeah, I mean it is Christmas.
It's
a very Christmas vibe, right?
I feel like it's all about Christmas, and you can't really take away You could take away the Christmas and it'd still be a great movie. But it's definitely a Christmas movie more than other movies have been Christmas, where they just throw in a Christmas tree and say, "Oh, it's a Christmas movie."
Like The Family Swap. Oh, less said about that movie, the better a little bit at this point. But yeah, Die Hard's an interesting one. I like how Adam said it's kind of in its own category, I think, as far as that's concerned. You're not wrong watching it on Christmas. I think it really is a Christmas movie. I'll be a defender of it. Is it a traditional Christmas movie? Absolutely not. It's definitely not the most traditional kind of story. But I think there is a good defense for it. I think there is something kind of embracingly holiday themed about it, if you will. Just again with the messaging, with the music, just the whole environment of this movie kind of reeks of Christmas and terrorists factions trying to take over a tower. You know, what the two just happen to be together. That's fantastic.
Well, one of my favorite moments in the movie, which you couldn't get if you took Christmas out of it, you mentioned it, I think, in our last video, when he takes out one of the terrorists, he gets his gun, sends him down the elevator with a Santa hat on and sprawls on his sweatshirt, "Now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho." And then you have Alan Rickman reading it in that famous Severus Snape voice. It's just such an iconic moment, and it's probably my favorite moment in the movie. And you wouldn't get that if it wasn't set at Christmas time.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, this movie, how much it really did. And besides, again, just being the whole Christmas discussion, I really just want to talk about, like, people really don't realize, like, what the 80s were like. Before this movie kind of came out. Before the 80s had very like unrealistic like action movies with crazy bombastic action sequences, predictable characters, like Arnold Schwarzenegger types just stomping through the jungles, fighting the predator. That was kind of like what the 80s were for action movies. So this movie, it's just, again, we talk about how it kind of is this revolutionary thing as far as a Christmas action movie hybrid. It really just is a revolutionary movie as far as an action movie. It's so simple. It's so brilliant. The characters are all really very realistic. John McClane is a very realistic, down-to-earth hero who's put in these crazy situations that are, you know, not solved by big muscles or by like these unrealistic actions that he's taking. He's in pain. He's getting his ass kicked throughout this whole entire movie. His feet are literally bleeding all over the floor, causing me to want to vomit every time I see it because it just gives me anxiety. I really hate that. Again, the plot is just a little more, it's simple, sure, but it's also kind of realistic, and it just the believability, I think, and the charm of a main character like this who's not a hardcore action steroided freak, you know, fighting off the goons. It's a guy fighting for his life, fighting for my life kind of thing in this movie, and I really enjoy it. I think Die Hard really is an awesome action movie that's incredibly funny. Again, I feel like we could go on and on about Die Hard. Let's talk about some of our favorite scenes. Adam, what would you say is your favorite scene from Die Hard? Because it's a tough discussion, right? I feel like so many people have talked about this movie. So,
I mean, the most memorable for me is when John is crawling through the vents and he's talking to himself. It's so relatable because I'd be doing the same thing and you'd be like, you know, this is the dumbest shit ever. You know, I love that. I think it's so funny. That's probably the most memorable for me. But I do, as Julie said, I do love that scene where he throws down he's got a machine gun now, and I love that scene too. It's so good.
Right, and it's fun just to see John McClane kind of play with these other characters in like a comedic kind of way, but it's not too crazy where he's like overpowered or anything like that. He's just kind of like poking the bear the whole time.
I love the sarcasm. I love the wittiness of it, and it's like it's so. I mean, as you said, it's so relatable to like, you know, my mannerisms as opposed to some, you know, Terminator, you know, jacked guy, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could even see movies of today borrowing from that. Marvel movies tend to do it a little more than everybody else. The sarcastic, you know, smart guy in the room kind of thing. And unfortunately, they kind of bled that to death. But Die Hard, hey, they did it the first time and they did it well. You know, again, just also because Bruce Willis is so goddamn likable. I mean, how can you not love the guy, right? Seriously, how could you not? John, how about you, man? How about a favorite scene? You got something?
I think one of my favorite scenes is when he's under the table and he shoots the guy right in like the nuts almost. I feel like that's a great scene. Also the guy in the elevator. But I also like when he throws the guy off the window and lands on the cop's car. Yeah. And then the cop's like, oh shit, this is a real... Yeah. It's like,
it's crazy.
He didn't think it was an emergency beforehand, and John McClane's like, all right, I gotta get this idiot's attention. He already came inside once.
Right. And there's like, that's what I really love. Again, we talked about the realism of all these action scenes. Like, again, he's fighting for his life in all of these scenes where there's like a machine gun getting shot at him. He's got to hide. Like, he's not out there just like popping off headshots like he's in a video game. He's like literally behind cover the whole time until he can find an opening to get through and defend himself. And if he kind of kills a terrorist or gets through somebody, sometimes it's by accident or by really careful planning. It's never done super intentionally, which I really love that realism. It definitely adds a little bit layer of drama to it, making me more enveloped. And it has its sense of humor, especially when you have John going back and forth with the cops down below, where he's like, I'm in here, I'm taking care of everything, and you guys are out there sitting eating donuts, come on and help me, I'm taking care of this. I love that. I love the interaction between that. You have John just like this typical New York, New Jersey style kind of guy, which maybe we can relate to that more because we kind of know people like that. We tend to have maybe a little bit more of a connection, but I could definitely see it, and I think that just makes it automatically that much more entertaining. Julie, how about you? You got a favorite scene?
Well, I mentioned my elevator scene. I also do love the air ducts or whatever, the vent scene.
Yeah,
that's iconic. There's so many. I do Hans Gruber falling. That's a good one too, just because the story behind it.
Yeah, why don't you tell us the story? So I mean, people probably know it, but we could tell the.
Yeah, so they're having that final climax. Hans Gruber is hanging on to John McClane's wife's hand. They let go of the wristwatch. He drops, but the story behind it is that I guess it was one of those things like, oh, we'll let you go on 3, and they let him go on 2. So Alan Rickman's face is really of pure surprise and terror because he was not expecting to be dropped then. So that's a favorite moment for me. I also do love the moment when Hans Gruber and John McClane meet, but John McClane doesn't know it's Hans Gruber.
But he does, right? He does, but he doesn't. Kind of.
He does, but he doesn't. They have that little cat and mouse thing for a minute, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, with Alan Rickman's American accent. I absolutely love that. He's just trying to pull that off. And
he's acting all scared, like, oh, I'm just some guy. I don't know where I am.
And it's funny because I think that's one of my favorites too, actually. And I think that's like a masterclass in acting right there between the two of them, that they're able to really pull that scene off realistically. Because sure, it's a little corny, and we've seen it done a million times in other movies and whatnot. But keep in mind, this was something new for the 80s. You had this uneasy alliance between, we know one character knows he's the bad guy and the other isn't aware. We have information that a character on screen doesn't, and they're able to convey that intention, the tension realistically. And then you just gotta love too that they have that typical John McClane character that they built here, who's not trusting of anyone. Like, he's realistic. Like, he knows his situation. Like, I'm not gonna give you a loaded gun. Like, are you crazy? Like, I'm gonna get, I love that. That's a realistic character right there. And again, that just adds so much depth to what already I consider an enjoyable character. Yeah, I really do. I really love Die Hard. Again, it's one of those movies that I've watched over and over again, when it's Christmas, when it's not Christmas. And it spawned a legacy, which is kind of checkered, I would say. Are you guys, anyone familiar with some of the sequels that have come out? I know a lot of people do love Die Hard 2 is a popular one. Anything else after that? Well, we probably have to have a discussion about that. Die Hard with a Vengeance with Sam Jackson. I do like that one. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure. But definitely anything after that, no. It only worked once. Maybe it was like magic in the bottle, right? They kind of unleashed it and it worked miraculously, because you really don't hear of any of the other ones talked in the same breath. Even more interestingly is Die Hard 2 is set right after Die Hard 1, but people don't go to that as a Christmas movie. Isn't that interesting, right? You would think people would be like, well, why isn't that one a Christmas movie too? But people don't consider it that way. It's just, again, there's something special about Die Hard, this first movie, that just really sticks with the zeitgeist, I think, of people. And if you've never seen it, I think it's aged incredibly well. It's mostly practical effects for the most part. Even some of the explosions that they blew up were kind of crazy. They actually did shoot off a bomb on the top of this building, and they kind of like put it into the frame. It's crazy the way they did things. I think it's really impressive. And with all that being said, let's put a big number on this one, guys. I'm going to give Die Hard a very jolly 10 out of 10.
What was it you said to me before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Happy trails, Hans.
guns.
Die Hard is a phenomenal movie. I've watched it so many times. I really can't find anything wrong with it. I mean, sure, maybe some things haven't aged perfectly well, you could say. The whole German terrorist thing is a little bit contrived at this point. Bad guys with ponytails are a thing in the late 80s, early 90s. It was definitely a thing for a while, but it works. It's simple. It's totally relatable as far as a main character, which you don't really get, again, in most action movies. And I would say Die Hard kind of perfected that formula. It's great. It's fun. It's a jolly, fantastic time. It definitely is a Christmas movie that I'll watch every Christmas, regardless if people think it is or not. But I just really love Die Hard. I think it does cement its place in film culture, especially as far as an action movie. Adam, how about you? What do you think?
I got to give Die Hard a 10 out of 10 as well.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
It's just a very enjoyable movie. I can't top it with, I mean, how many other action movies that, are set during Christmas time can you think of? Not many. So just for that reason alone, I think that because it's, it sets that bar so high that I don't think it can ever be topped.
No, again, we're still quoting it to this day.
Right.
Bruce Willis, unfortunately, I know he's dealing with a lot of medical issues now, but he was just recently in a commercial about Die Hard batteries, and they're referencing John McClane. People just reference this movie. They still love this character. He's ingrained in culture. It launched his career to new heights. Bruce Willis could do whatever he wanted after Die Hard. He had no problems getting a role in a romantic comedy, an action movie, a drama, whatever he wanted. Bruce Willis had, and he even did some things that are absolutely terrible as far as like straight to DVD releases, but the man had his pick of the litter, and you can't say much. I mean, he kind of makes a great case for it with his performance here. Fortunately, I feel like Alan Rickman didn't get the biggest, at least over here in the United States, I know he did have some notable roles and whatnot, but it was definitely a bigger feature over in England. One of his other movies besides Harry Potter, yeah, I know, Harry Potter. Besides that, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I absolutely love his voice work in that movie too. He's fantastic. And for rest in peace, Alan Rickman, man, because he's a phenomenal actor. And again, for him to stretch his chops here, I think is also just something legendary. John, how about you, man? What do you think?
I give Die Hard a 10. Easily a 10.
Oh, you're in charge. Well, I got some bad news for you, Dwayne. From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit.
You listen to me, you little asshole.
Asshole? I'm not the one who just got butt-fucked on national TV, Dwayne. Now you listen to me, jerk-off. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Quit being part of the fucking problem and put the other guy back on.
Hey, Roy, how you feeling?
Pretty fucking unappreciated, Al.
Hey, look, I love you. So do a lot of the other guys. So you hang in there, man. You hear me? You hang in there.
Yeah, thanks, partner.
One of those great movies that you always love to watch, and definitely one of the best Christmas movies, I feel like, out there. Action Christmas movies out there.
Yeah, no, again, I think it really does embody the holiday, maybe in a more non-traditional way, but I think it is, and I think it can definitely be enjoyed. And why not watch it on Christmas? We all love unconventional holiday traditions. Why not throw this on the list? I think it's great. Julie, how about you? What do you think?
I'm going to be giving Die Hard a 10 out of 10 as well.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. Have a few laughs.
I said it earlier. What's not to love about this movie? Whether you're looking at it as just an action movie or a Christmas action movie, it is just so much fun. A really good like heist movie in a way too, but with heart. John McClane and Hans Gruber are just two iconic characters in like American film. So this is just like, it's a perfect movie.
It just really is. Again, I can't stress enough its place in cinema history as far as a quintessential action classic that really captures what we love about these kind of non-typical heroic characters in these crazy, insane situations, but also done realistically and also a lot of fun too. I mean, he's just so goddamn likable in this movie. A lot of his lines, you'll be saying it for days after you watch this. But what I want to know is down in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of Die Hard? Let's raise the discussion here. If you made it this far, is it a Christmas movie? Yes, no, give your reasoning in the comments below. Let's be civil. I know this can be a very hot topic with some people for some reason, one or another, but I want to know what you guys think. And let me know what you think of the other Die Hard sequels. Are they on your list? Am I wrong in thinking that they're all complete trash? Because for the most part, they kind of are, except for probably 2 and 3 is kind of a guilty pleasure. But, you know, I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments below. But, guys, it's been so much fun talking to you this holiday season. We've had a lot of real fun here on the Real Movie Guys channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. My name is Kevin. That's Adam, John, and Julie. We are your Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We'll catch you guys next time.
If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search the Real Movie Guys, it should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are the Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.